Hey there, Henson fans. This is J.D. Hansel for ToughPigs.com. Today we're shining a spotlight on a new puppet special from the Jim Henson Company for PBS. We're very fond of each of those things. The show is called Wowsabout, and it's designed to teach kids about wonder and awe. Shot on location at Sequoia National Park, home of the largest trees in the world, the special follows a hedgehog named Roxy, performed by Dorien Davies, and a pig named Ronald, performed by John Tartaglia, as they explore different ways of connecting with nature and culture. You can watch the show online right now, for free, on the PBS Kids YouTube channel. I can't say I've ever seen a puppet project use the natural environment this way. It's a unique production, and I got the opportunity to interview the show's creators about it. You're going to hear that interview now. I am now joined by Wowsabout's creators. Halle Stanford is the founder of the production company Seven Crow Stories, which has a first-look producing deal with the Jim Henson Company. Previously, she served as president of television for the Henson Company, where her executive producer credits include The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance and Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock, among several others. Halle, welcome back to Tough Pigs.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. That was fun hearing that introduction.
Fancy.
I felt like I was on like a 70s dating show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who's behind the curtain?
Well, here comes another one, because this wouldn't be the same without talking to the show's co-creator, Dorien Davies, who likewise has many credits as an executive producer and writer for Henson projects. Dorien is a puppeteer who has performed in projects ranging from Puppet Up to Word Party to Julie's Green Room, and is the principal puppeteer in Wowsabout. Hi, Dorien. Thanks for talking with us today.
Hi. Thanks for making us sound so fancy.
I know. I love it.
You are fancy.
Exciting.
You are. What are you talking about? You are fancy.
You're fancy.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So, Wowsabout. Where did the idea for this show come from? What's the genesis of Wowsabout?
Well, the genesis of Wowsabout comes from, whenever we create a show at the Jim Henson Company, we always think like it needs to have like a meaning for putting kids in front of that TV, right? Like, what do we want to say to this generation and future generations? And so we thought a lot about, really wanting kids to care for the planet and one another. And how are we going to create a show that inspires them to do that? So just kept noodling on it, thinking about it. And on a drive, as I get most of my good ideas when I'm driving through Topanga Canyon, suddenly it came to me, a little hedgehog out to see the wows of the world with little hiking boots and a guitar on her back, like Dolly Parton. And thought that's the basis. That's where we need to start. And I was very lucky that within a couple of days, I saw an article in the New York Times about Dacher Keltner's research on awe and all its benefits. And one of the big benefits was inspiring us to care for the planet and one another, and all about climate hope, which I knew that parents needed and wanted to give tools to this generation as they grow up, caretaking our planet. And so it seemed the perfect combo. So I'm like, yes, that's it. She's out to see the wows of the world and experience awe. And so then needed to find a hedgehog and knew the perfect person to call to help create this character, because it's so important, as you know, in the Jim Henson tradition, to create that character and build the show around that character. And who better to do that with than the Amy Poehler of puppeteers, Dorien Davies.
It's me. I'm the hedgehog. She calls me hedgehog.
I do.
Well, let's talk about the characters then. Who are Roxy and Ronald?
Oh, Roxy and Ronald. Roxy is an incredibly free-spirited, musical, creative little hedgehog who has like wanderlust in her heart, and she goes off and everything she touches, she turns into art. I always like to imagine her being a little hedgehog version of Andy Goldsworthy, making art out of nature and in any way she possibly can, writing songs, doing dances.
She stress crochets.
Yeah, she stress crochets.
Yeah.
And then Ronald is our sweet angel pig who is fastidious and persnickety and very kind of
he's our eco warrior.
Yeah,
he
he's
loves
left-brain.
nature, but he is from the city, so he's like one of the he's a card carrying member of the Audubon Society. He
organized.
Yeah.
He understands things in concept but not necessarily in practice, whereas Roxy understands things in practice but really doesn't get the concept, and so that's where they meet and fall in love. No, friendship.
What do you think each of their different perspectives brings to the story? What can kids learn from Roxy and what can they learn from Ronald?
Oh my gosh, I love that
Mm.
question. Well, they learn from each other and you'll see it in the special, but they each start out with the same like excitement, which is I'm here to see the great outdoors, right?
Yeah.
And Ronald is very, very excited to explore nature and to become a junior ranger. And he is somebody that like does a tremendous amount of research before he goes on a trip. I think that there are things that like these are tools that we say could be something to help you experience awe and have a wonderful wows about. We're not saying you have to only be a Ronald, but I think that that's what Ronald brings to it. And also, he has a real eco mindset. He's all about leave no hoofprint behind, take care of nature, and be very respectful. So I think those are the things that he brings to the table. Not that Roxy doesn't love nature, just she approaches it a
In a
completely different
totally
way.
different way, yeah. Her perspective on nature is it's something to be explored and met and adventure. It's part of her adventure. It's part of her life experience. I think she wants to make friends. I think she meets Pecan and she's like, this is cool. Let's party, Pecan.
Yeah.
I like you. Weird moves are fun. And then she kind of dives in deeper only to, because Ronald exposes her to things she wouldn't have normally seen
Yeah.
or done or
I love what you're saying though. Like, yeah, Roxy's definitely somebody in nature that is going to like reach out, talk to the Rangers,
Yeah.
get in it, get messy with it. And Ronald, as you can see, the first thing he does is sit quietly and listen to the quail and listen to the trees. And he is more of a solitary creature. So I think we're saying a little bit of both is good, but put it together and you'll have a really wild
really
experience.
good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that struck me when I was watching it is that this didn't take the, I think, easier or more cynical approach to writing a show about this topic where you have these kids who, are apathetic about everything on their phones all the time, just watching screens and have to learn to get excited about nature. They start excited about nature and yet still you manage to expand their emotional palettes to another place by finding wonder and awe. I don't know if I have a question there, but if you have anything
No, but
to add to that.
we love that. And that I feel like you experienced what we were trying to write. So
Yeah.
it like makes us happy.
Oh, wonderful.
I think this age group, yes, I think that the preschool age group that this is written for, but obviously what we're finding out is that families, older kids, like everyone's loving it. So that feels really good. But preschoolers do love nature. They're excited about I call it like they're like birthday cake happy every day.
Yeah.
They're like, yay, a roly-poly
How many
bug.
times do you do a child's laundry and there's rocks and
Right.
seashells and sticks and weird
Lots of
feathers
sticks.
and just weird stuff you found in nature, and it's like I don't necessarily think this snail belongs in our laundry, but I'm gonna put it out in nature. Thank you for bringing this to me. I think inherently kids they're wondrous.
Yeah, they are. And so that always felt like we had to deliver that. It's just that now that they're in a place like Sequoia National Park that is filled with some extraordinary awe and diversity in the awe and nature, I think exposing that to children, I hope what we're demonstrating is, wow, they can have a deeper and more meaningful connection with nature. I know I do after filming Wowsabout in Sequoia National Park. Like literally those trees they are giant Tolkien Ents. They are absolutely extraordinary, beautiful, motivated us to get up every morning and honor them. And I'll just say, so, even, this 56-year-old, like I suddenly had a more deeper and meaningful relationship with nature after filming Wowsabout. So anyway, I don't know if that answered your question either, but
absolutely.
we love talking about
We'll
this.
talk about the trees for hours, man.
Well, can you share a little bit more about the production experience then and how adapting puppetry production that's usually in a studio to a national park worked? What were the challenges that came with that?
Lots of challenges. I will say that one of the other reasons I got into conceiving of Wowsabout is that working on Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock and the Uncle Traveling Matt pieces and being able to put Matt out in the world in a kind of really extraordinary way. I went and filmed Uncle Traveling Matt in Korea and in Mexico City. We just were like, these look beautiful, these puppets out in the real world.
Yeah.
What would happen if we put them out in like awe-inspiring, Ken Burns style nature? What would that look like?
Yeah.
So I think that we had already done it in a short, like short pieces, but we'd never done it in a half-hour
Yeah.
special.
And it
So
wasn't easy.
No,
You
it was
remember,
not.
we got a lot of like, can't you just do this on a green screen?
Yeah.
Like there was a
Mm.
lot of like, how are we going to do this with the budget? How are we going to,
Yeah.
and we really lucked out with Jamie Burke,
Yeah.
who is our amazing producer who made it a reality.
She made it all the logistics, and then John Tartaglia, who directed it, and certainly knew exactly how to have these characters be directed and live in this natural world and deliver comedy. You know, we wrote a lot of setups. We wrote a lot of
Too
pieces.
many setups.
Yeah, they told us we did, but now nobody remembers they gave us that.
We
but-
do.
Yeah, but so it's a lot of prep, right? We had to do a lot of prep. We had to do multiple scoutings to see, like, to make sure we were close enough that we weren't losing time transporting from one area to the next. There was a lot of prep to
And
be
we're
able to
at
shoot them.
we're at altitude. We're an hour away from the hotels. There's no reception.
No
There's-
Wi-Fi.
There's a lot of consideration to be made when you're shooting in cases like that. And then also we're shooting in a national park, which has a certain amount of you can't just shoot like you would normally shoot.
Mhm.
There are some sensitive areas where you have to have a skeleton crew and you have to go in earlier before the tourists come.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of consideration
Yeah.
to make sure that we left no trace as a crew and a production in that place. Like we're trying to honor it, not deplete it.
And on top of all of that, we had no idea what would happen with the weather or
Mm.
the light or whatever. Like, I once got on my walkie-talkie, there's a bear coming down 5 miles away towards your set. And I was like, I'm not telling anyone yet.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah. So, you know, it's sort of like the natural world, and particularly the weather was always, you know, we just didn't know until that minute.
Yeah.
Wow. This may be a silly question because I, as a Muppet fan, should know the answer to it. How does Roxy drive?
Oh,
That's a really good question.
and we're not going to tell you.
No,
Okay.
we'll tell you. We'll tell you. So you know those remote control Power Wheels cars?
Yeah, sure.
That's the inside frame of Roxy's camper van.
So Ian Knopfnagel is our art director, and Giles August
Yes.
was our engineer
Yes.
and prop master. And together
Just
they built this
masterful.
wonderful van. And so it actually works. It's remote controlled.
Yeah.
It works. It can be operated. And then Roxy was put in there. We learned, here was a learning little behind the scenes that they taped her hands to the wheels. And so while the remote control operators were trying to drive it, Roxy was driving it the other way. So lesson learned. We won't.
The wheel would turn when the remote control car would turn, and her arms are really short too. So it would turn her arms and then her face would lunge forward.
Yeah.
They had to like
We
do
had to
all kind of
adjust.
Frankensteining, and they pulled the wheel out and they put in a separate wheel that didn't turn, and it was absolutely masterful. Like their skill set is beyond imagine.
And then I'll just tell you this too. And then Dorien is sitting there puppeteering Roxy's mouth remotely.
with the RC.
Yeah, off camera. So, you know, a lot of different elements had to be put together
Yeah.
to make that we call it the Kermit riding the bike moment of Roxy driving that van.
Yeah.
And then through the power of editing, then you'd go to close-ups of her singing that we filmed.
That we filmed and we created, and this was Johnny's idea. Johnny was very ambitious. They created this whole process trailer and then took the shell that was on the outside of the Pow Pow Power Wheel and put it on top of the process trailer. And then Johnny and I sat underneath it and puppeteered all the close-ups and, you know, like that, all the cool stuff from the end and from the very beginning.
And it was a lot of crew, like pushing them back and forth like 8 times.
And there was like this slight incline, and they were like pushing and pushing and pushing, like turning around and doing it. And every time they'd be like, okay, another take. And I go, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, because they're pushing mine and Johnny's full weight on our way.
Oh gosh, how many days was the shoot?
We were there 5 days.
But it was like a half day on either side so we could travel.
Yeah, and then we also did a little bit of green screen shooting on one day too. You'll see, you know, you've seen in the end when they sing the song "Let's Go on a Wowsabout," you see all the possible places they can go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
we actually filmed that on location, we had to find a place to shoot and set up a green screen, which happened to be a church
Yeah.
that lent us some space. So
Amazing Three Rivers.
yeah,
That has great coffee. There's a good coffee shop. So if anyone goes to Sequoia National Park, you got to stop at that amazing
you got to stop
coffee
at Three
shop.
Rivers.
Yeah.
It's like the Shire.
Awesome. Dorien, a question for you as a writer and a puppeteer. By the time you've written a script starring a character, you probably know that character pretty darn well. Do you find that there's still more to discover about a character you've written once you're working with the puppet?
Great question. Yes, absolutely. We were just up in Visalia for the premiere of Wowsabout, and Johnny and I got to improvise the whole time on stage, and it was so fun. And I was like, we're figuring out who these characters are all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And if it doesn't feel true in that moment, it won't make it to screen. But it's always a process to go deeper into.
I think it's a gift that Dorien had from idea to special airing 3 years. So Dorien had this wonderful opportunity, and Johnny as well, to just really play with these characters for a long time. And so by the time we got on set, they knew Roxy and Ronald. And yes, they'll keep evolving, they'll keep changing, but their essence, that was Roxy and Ronald. So that's kind of a gift that we got in working with Dorien and Johnny from the very beginning.
Awesome. As we start to move towards the end of our time, I wanted to ask each of you, do you have a favorite memory of a time you experienced awe?
In
Oh,
life or on the shoot?
In life, just any example of awe.
well, I think Tough Pigs would like this experience. When I was a little girl, I grew up in San Diego, and at the Museum of Man, they had the traveling exhibit of the Muppets when I was a little girl. And I remember walking, and by the way, the news was there that day for some reason. So
Oh.
I was on camera, like stalking Kermit the Frog. But to see Kermit in person as
Yeah.
a little girl in the museum was definitely awe-inspiring, and definitely inspired me to, one of the reasons, many reasons, that I also wanted to come and one day work for Kermit the Frog.
Oh my gosh, that's a really good answer, Halle. Awe in my life. There are so many amazing examples of experiencing awe. And I'm going to tell you one that just because I am a crazy James Taylor fan.
Oh,
That's
cool.
a fun fact about me. When I was a little girl, my mom gave me a Walkman, and we went on a vacation, and I only had one tape, and it was a bootleg of James Taylor's Sweet Baby James, and I listened to it for a month nonstop. And my godfather got me tickets when I was young. I must have been like 14, and tickets to go see James Taylor at the Santa Barbara County Bowl. And it was my first concert it was my second concert, but it was like the first one, the one I remember the most profoundly. And it was like, he was a friend, and I knew all the songs by heart. And I felt like I was witnessing something really, really special and sacred to me. And then last night, the reason I'm telling you this is because I guess it's his last tour ever. I saw him at the Santa Barbara County Bowl last night.
No way.
Yeah, and it was just like, it felt like a real beautiful full
Oh,
circle
that's so
moment.
sweet.
Yeah. Awe comes in all forms,
Yeah.
but music is one of them. Mm-hmm.
Wow. My final question, will we see more adventures with Roxy and Ronald?
Yes.
Yes!
We're just going to say yes.
We're just
okay.
going to say it.
Yes, we're making it so.
Great.
We are we're out there raising funding for the series, but we also have lots of appearances of Roxy and Ronald coming up at museums, and hopefully more music videos that you'll see. So
Yeah.
we feel like we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Dorien Davies and Halle Stanford, thank you so much for talking with Tough Pigs today.
Yay, thanks for having us.
Hey, come on, let's go! Yeah! No better time than now. Let's go on a Wowsabout to find the world of wow.